Another day in my life of watching movies. So, today I'm going to be rewatching the fifth installment to the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and I've actually as well rented Amazon Prime, which I'm going to be watching via my television using my PS5. So, let's get the film ready, shall we? There it is on Prime waiting for me. Luke, don't watch it! Future me, what are you doing here? I'm here to warn you about something very dangerous. You're about to watch what is probably the worst Pirates of the Caribbean movie ever. Please don't watch it. It's absolutely terrible. You're going to really hate it. Oh no, you're here to stop me watching this film, aren't you? Well, in that case, you've won, so I'm going to give you my controller now so I won't be able to play the film on my PS5. Thank you very much, Luke. You're doing the right thing by giving me this controller. He has no idea that I've got a secret plan to watch it, because not only can I use my controller to play my PS5, but I can control my menu using my TV remote. So I'm going to play the film now using my TV remote. So 3, 2, 1, let's do this. Well, that was definitely a massive mistake rewatching this film, because oh my goodness. Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So, it is now time for me to review what is, of course, the fifth and currently the latest installment of a franchise I've been reviewing, which is actually live action by Disney. And unfortunately, I'm going to be ending this review series on a very bad note, because it's time for a trash talk for what is, of course, the fifth installment of this franchise. As you probably guessed by the title on the thumbnail, I'm going to be trash talking none other than 2017's Pirates of the Caribbean. So this was, of course, directed by Joaquin Ronning and Esper and Sandberg, with a screenplay by Jeff Nathanson, who also wrote a story with Terry Rossio. So, now, how was this film made then? So, when this film was being made, the filmmakers cited the first installment of this franchise, The Curse of the Black Pearl, as inspiration for the script and so on of this film, with critics also saying this film is a requel. But in my opinion, this film is nowhere near as phenomenal as the first movie at all. Pre-production for this film started shortly before the fourth film, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, was released in early 2011, with Terry Rossio writing the initial script. In early 2013, Jeff Nathanson was hired to write a new script for the film, with also Johnny Depp being involved in Nathanson's writing process, as well as, of course, reprising his role as Captain Jack Sparrow. Initially planned for 2015 release, the film was delayed to 2016 and then to 2017 due to script and budget issues. And you know what, based on what I think of this film, I'm not surprised by those issues. Filming began in Australia in February 2015 after the Australian government offered Disney $20 million in tax incentives, and it finished in July 2015. The film then premiered in Shanghai on May 11, 2017, and was then released in the United States on May 26th. The film received generally negative reviews from critics, and it grossed $796 million worldwide, against a production budget of $230 to $320 million. When it comes to my reaction to this film then, so when I was binge watching the films of this franchise in 2021, I noticed that they'd done 2 sequels to At World's End, which I of course regard as the true end of Pirates of the Caribbean, and I absolutely still do to this day. And when I first watched this movie, I unfortunately did not like it, and I definitely would regard it as the worst one of the franchise. And sadly, the more and more I look back at this film, the more negative my opinion gets of it, because upon rewatching the film for this trash talk, my hate for it has unfortunately increased even more, because now I absolutely despise it. And the other thing I've got to say is, screw this film, screw Disney, and screw everyone who thought it would be a good idea to get this piece of trash released in cinemas and on screen. Because, in my opinion, compared to the absolutely wonderful 3 films of a trilogy, this film, in my opinion, absolutely sucks. Like, in my opinion, it's absolutely terrible. And so far, it's probably the worst live-action Disney movie I've ever had the misfortune of seeing in my life ever. Because it ruins such a great franchise, and it's just absolutely horrible in my opinion, and it makes Uncharted Side look like a masterpiece in comparison. Like, that's how terrible it is in my opinion, because I'm not even a fan of Stranger Tides, but this one makes it look like a masterpiece in comparison. So, what is this trash movie about then? So, the story once again follows Captain Jack Sparrow as he searches for the Trident of Poseidon to defeat the new villain of his franchise, which is Armando Salazar, who is played in this by Javier Bardem, who is determined to kill every pirate at sea and take revenge on Sparrow for imprisoning him and his crew of ghosts in the Devil's Triangle. Jack is joined by Hector Barbosa, played once again by Geoffrey Rush, and also Will Turner and also Elizabeth Turner's son Henry, who is played in this by Brenton Thwaites, and also the young astronomer Karina Smythe, who is played in this by Kate Scodelario, and also Jack's first mate Josh McGibbs, played once again by Kevin McNally, to defeat the ghostly crew. So, if you guys were to ask me if there's anything positive I can say about this movie, well, unfortunately, the more and more I look back at this movie, I'm going to simply say that, in my opinion, there is absolutely nothing good about this movie. Nothing, in my opinion, can redeem this absolute pile of trash. And last night's rewatch proved that, because when I rewatched it, I didn't see anything good or redeemable whatsoever. The film, in my opinion, was absolutely horrible. So, one thing this film does, which in my opinion is absolutely terrible, aside from the stupid decision to have two titles, one being, of course, Dead Men Tell No Tales and also Salazar's Revenge, is also that, in my opinion, it absolutely massacres Jack Sparrow as a character. Like, I cannot believe this at all, that I'm saying this, because I really hated what we did with Jack in this. It breaks my heart because he's my favourite role of Johnny Depp, and most definitely as one of my favourite live-action Disney protagonists of all time, but mainly from a trilogy as far as I'm concerned. Because, in my opinion, this movie massacred Jack by turning him into an absolute drunken idiot who only cares about drinking alcohol and not being, of course, the lovable pirate we all know and love, who's so likeable, whereas in this, he's very unlikable. And I'm not blaming Johnny Depp for this, because during this time, he was going through a tough time, of course, with Amber Heard and other problems too surrounding that, so I felt sorry for him. But I really thought that they really screwed him over in this film with an absolutely awful direction and story to work with. It was, in my opinion, horrendous. And the way they treated Jack in this reminded me so much of Luke Skywalker in the Disney Wars sequel Trashology, in my opinion as well, because it made him so unlikable. Nothing like the hero that I've loved in the trilogy at all, and I dare say even on Stranger Tides as well. Because I really thought this film ruined Jack. All I cared about was being drunk in this and being so unlikable, not caring about his friends at all. And also being mean to his own crew, especially as well towards Gibbs, which I really hated as well, because Gibbs is supposed to be his first mate, and Jack, in my opinion, was so mean to him in this movie. So, I personally really hate what we did to Jack in this movie. He was just, in my opinion, very insufferable to watch in this. Also, as well, when it comes as well to Captain Barbosa as well, even though Geoffrey Rush will always be about, also as far as I'm concerned, I really hated how in this film, his character was also massacred too, because he barely did much in the story at all to make him interesting of a character. And I also really hated the anything resembling a story arc he had in this, where they basically did something really stupid surrounding him and also as well Karina Smythe, the astronomer, because they took a cliche of course, a character being a long-lost relative of a character by making her his daughter. And in my opinion, that was a very dumb move, because it was never established before in the previous films that Barbosa was a father. Or like, that was just, in my opinion, ridiculous. Not to mention as well, I also really hated how the film also killed him off as well. That made me really angry. Like, come on. How dare you do that to him? So, you bring him back in Dead Man's Chest only to kill him off in this and make his resurrection pointless? Thanks a lot. That, in my opinion, was just so stupid, and it's why Disney can get stuffed as far as I'm concerned. Speaking of, as well, Karina Smythe, I personally didn't really like her as a character. In my opinion, she was just, in my opinion, really boring. No one near as great of a female character as Elizabeth Swann, in my opinion. They really ruined Kate Scoladero's talent in this. They really did. I felt so bad for her. And also, as well, I also personally did not like as well what we did to Henry Turner in this, because get this, guys, right? They changed his name from Will Turner Jr. to Henry Turner in this, which in my opinion was a dumb move, and is why I pretend this movie isn't canon to of course, the trilogy. And I personally also wasn't a fan of him. I personally thought he was really annoying, in my opinion. I mean, Brenton Thwaites was a good casting, because he does have a look above Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley slightly, But I really do feel that they made his character such an absolute coward and was just really annoying. So I felt really bad for Brenton. I like him much better as Robin in the Titans Netflix show, but as Henry Turner, I just really feel that we wasted his time because Henry was just, in my opinion, a very annoying character who shouldn't even be called Henry. He's supposed to be called Will Turner Jr. And speaking of Will and Elizabeth, oh my goodness, what do we do to Rose in this? Now, one of my few redeeming qualities with On Stranger Tides is that they did leave Will and Elizabeth alone, because in my opinion the story ended really well at World's End and didn't need to continue, and they probably got screwed over if it came out of that one, because guess what? They got screwed over in this movie by being brought back, because Will, despite appearing in the trailers, is absolutely wasted, because he only appears at the beginning and the end of a movie, and I feel that in his first scene at the start of the film, he was so unlikable and was nasty to his own son. Like, what happened to him? I really hated that. And also, speaking of that scene as well, where was his father, who promised he'd stay with Will on the ship? Like, where was Bruce Bill Turner? Like, why did he leave the ship? What's going on? They never confirmed why he left the ship, but in my opinion, was just really stupid. Oh. And then, of course, at the end of the movie, Will Turner's curse is also broken as well, and he's able to return to land. So basically that undermines everything that he went through in at War's End, of course, to start Davy Jones. And speaking as well of Elizabeth Swann as well, I also really feel this movie really wasted Keira Knightley a lot. Because get this, guys, right? Despite her also appearing in the trailers like Will, Elizabeth Swann only appears at the end of the movie, so they basically gave her the same treatment as Luke Skywalker in The Force Awakens, because she, of course, only appears at the end of a movie, and also has no dialogue either. So, I personally think that was a very stupid move, in my opinion. So, I really hated that. And apparently, it was only added in the last minute, too, because test audiences in the screenings were happy with this movie. But still, in my opinion, adding her changed nothing, because I still despise this movie either way. And I'm just really angry that they wasted Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom. I feel so bad for them both. So, I think that was, in my opinion, really stupid. And also, as well, when it comes to a film's villain, do not get me started on Salazar. Now, what I will say is, I love Javier Bardem as an actor. I think he's a great actor in tons of roles, but I would sadly regard Salazar as my least favourite role of his, unfortunately, because compared to, for example, Barbossa in the first movie, and also Davy Jones and Lord Culler Beckett, and I dare say even Blackbeard in On Stranger Tides, Salazar, in my opinion, is just a terrible and very annoying villain. Like, I really did not like Salazar in this movie. I thought he was boring as hell. And I also found him really annoying how he constantly said Jack Sparrow all the time. Like, that just really got on my nerves. Like, I'm thinking, shut up. Because he just really did my head in. I didn't really like that at all, what he did with him in this. Like, Javier Bardem could have been directed much better than what we had him do in this movie. Much better, because he's a phenomenal actor. And this movie, in my opinion, really wasted his time. I felt so sorry for him. And also as well, one thing this film has, which I think is also so bad about it, and I despise it, is also lots of plot holes. For example, it's the in a flashback scene, of course, when we see the origin story of Salazar, which in my opinion was a pretty bad scene, goodness me. Especially because I CGI on Jack Sparrow to make him look young. Oh my goodness, that was so bad. It's revealed in that scene that Jack's compass was given to him by a captain he worked for in his youth, but that's not happened because in Dead Man's Chest, Tia Dalma gave him a compass. Like, he bought it from her. He didn't get it from a captain. And also, as well, the bottle which the Black Pearl is also differently designed to how it was in On Stranger Tides. And also, as well, I've already mentioned the absence of Booster Bill Turner as well. And also, there's also other characters too, who of course also went into On Stranger Tides, like Rigetti and Pinsel. And also other crew members of the Black Pearl, who are also absent as well, which is also so dumb. And also as well, when it comes to Salazar being freed from, of course, Devil's Triangle, it creates a massive plot hole when it comes to Trilogy, because he gets released from it when Jack gives away his compass when he's drunk in a bar and he's trying to get money to buy drinks, which in my opinion really masked his character a lot. But the problem is that Jack has already given the compass away to Will Turner in at World's End before he threw it overboard to be picked up by Culler Beckett and Davy Jones. So nothing happened back then. So why did it happen in this? It makes no sense whatsoever. And also as well, even the music in this movie, he also didn't feel alright in this. And in my opinion, it was very forgettable. And even the iconic theme of a franchise felt just weird and out of place here. Like, I really don't know what happened at all with this. I was just so angry. And also, the CGI, in my opinion, is also a massive downgrade compared to the previous movies. Like, it's just really shocking how this movie is in 2017 and it has awful CGI compared to what came before it. Like, goodness me. When you compare it to Davy Jones, for example, you definitely know what I mean. And speak of Davy Jones as well, the film also has, in my opinion, a terrible credit scene, which was none other than a dumb setup for more films to come, where it's basically revealed, of course, that Will has a nightmare about Davy Jones returning. We first think it's a nightmare, but then guess what? We then see some barnacles on the floor. So basically, that was implying that Davy Jones has also been resurrected. So great, you just made the trilogy completely and utterly pointless now. Thanks a bunch. So that was definitely, in my opinion, a very dumb setup for more to come. And if they even do a sixth movie, which of course has been in production hell for years, I am not going to watch it at all. No chance. Because I personally think this franchise is long dead. In my opinion, it should have stayed as a trilogy. That's, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to what I think of a franchise. It's only a trilogy to me, just that alone, as far as I'm concerned. Because this movie, in my opinion, is absolutely atrocious. It ruins what I love about Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's definitely, for me, the worst live-action Disney movie I've had the misfortune of seeing in my life so far. Just, in my opinion, absolutely dreadful from start to finish. And if I wasn't watching it for you guys for this trash talk, I'd have probably switched it off after Will's first scene, because that was enough to tell me if the film was going to suck, because they massacred Will a lot. And even the fights in this movie are also a joke compared to the first three films, in my opinion, too, as well. Like, in my opinion, and they're just so wasted potential, and they're just laughable, in my opinion. And the CGI, in my opinion, is also very appalling, especially when you compare it to say, Davy Jones, for example. Like, it's just, in my opinion, complete trash, this movie. Nothing redeemable about it whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned. Just an absolute joke. So, and it's also no surprise that it was trash, because it came out in a year, which I, of course, have known in my life for being a year full of movies I hate. I mean, is it any wonder this one came out the same year as, say, for example, Disney Wars The Lazy Jedi, 2017? Both films made by Disney, and in my opinion, are both trash. So, yeah, it's no surprise whatsoever for me. But if you guys were to ask me what I'd score this movie out of 10, well, because in my opinion, there's nothing redeemable about this movie, because in my opinion, I didn't see anything good about it when I rewatched it, I'd give the movie a full-blown 0 out of 10. Because in my opinion, it's complete and utter trash. And there's no way we're going to rewatch it again. I'll only ever rewatch the original trilogy as far as I'm concerned. To me, there can only be 3 movies of Pirates of the Caribbean. Just 3 alone, to me. No more, no less. So guys, this is me doing my trash talk of what is the 5th installment of the franchise, and hopefully the last one, I really hope so, for Pirates of the Caribbean, which is, as some of you may call it, Salazar's Revenge, or some of you may also call it Dead Men Tell No Tales. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to note in the comments what you guys think of this movie if you've seen it. Leave in the comments below. Also, be sure to join the team by pressing subscribe for videos coming in the future. And, for what it is worth, Pirates Life for me, savvy.